Yeah, so when you were describing the situation with the knee, that leaving it alone and it heals, but if we're worried about it, we worry it, and it takes longer to heal that way. Um, that is actually the foundation of um, what in medical science they know of as hypochondria,
Oh, yeah.
and that um, it's quite well known in medical schools that the various medical students get many of the illnesses that they read about in books and or assign that illness to someone in their family or someone they know. Okay. And so it's funny like that that that's coming out of a state of fear or anxiety is the way that it's expressed, or let us say felt, and that the way that it's expressed is by worrying about the knee, which worries the knee, which keeps it from being able to heal as quickly. That happens in all kinds of cases, especially things like broken bones.
Okay.
Broken bones can heal very fast if you stay off of it and leave it alone. But people don't want to do that. They want to walk on it. They want to go. um, but then, if there are, especially for right-handed people with breaking the right arm, it's the same
Oh,
thing. They keep wanting to use the arm instead of leaving it alone, and so that's an important point that we need to give ourselves the time to heal without wanting it to be better, because the wanting it is part of the problem that keeps saying that's how wanting actually is a good example of how wanting causes suffering.
yeah, you're not accepting what is in the moment. You're not accepting the
Mhm.
situation, trying to.
I think the Supremes are the ones that put it to music. You can't hurry, love. No, you just have to wait. It don't come easy, no matter the give and take or something like that. So, yeah, we have to leave things alone. But then the phrase comes of it's all mind over matter. And if you don't mind, it
It
don't
don't
matter.
matter. Uh,
And so if it really doesn't mind, then if it really doesn't matter, then we don't mind anyway. So those things go hand in hand. And it all comes back down to the position of being satisfied. Come to the state of being satisfied. Okay, so the knee is busted up, it needs to heal. I'm gonna let it do that, and I'm quite happy to sit here and do nothing for a while. I'm really good at doing nothing nowadays. Yes, and you'd be surprised at how much effort went into becoming effortless.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Uh,
sort of like regenerative braking,
oh,
like on
okay,
an
I've heard of
electric
that.
car. It's right. Is when you apply the brakes that slow the car down, it actually charges the batteries. So, what else do you have to report?
Besides that, the practice has been good. What I've been noticing, I'm not that satisfied about it, but so during the period where I was sick, I had a tendency to like, I don't know, try to find refuge in other activities. Like I played guitar a lot more, and I think I am maybe avoiding a bit of practice. Um, I think I'm trying to find satisfaction in world activities, and I kind of realize it it can't bring full satisfaction. And then okay, back to practice, and I kind of fluctuate between practicing quite consistently, and some days I barely practice at all. And the problem wouldn't be that
When
I'm
you say practice in this regard, are you talking
okay.
about guitar or Sita Bhavana?
Oh, the-
Anapanasati? I'm not quite sure which one we're following.
yeah, that's that's a very good question. And I was talking about Sita Bhavana, yeah. Um, yeah, and the problem wouldn't be that I'm playing guitar per se. The problem would be that I'm expecting something of it. I'm trying to maybe avoid some things that I have to handle with my mind, and mm, I'm trying to find things in it that it doesn't provide. Playing guitar, it's fun, it's okay, but if you're trying to get lasting satisfaction from it, and I think I've seen that tendency. Oh, maybe if I can get this good, it will be so entertaining for me. Like trying to get rid of like
It,
sense
it,
of
it,
boredom.
it's interesting that you use the word lasting.
Yeah.
Lasting satisfaction.
Oh, okay. I realize what I did now.
In that
Yes,
regard, there you can either practice and or work on a particular passage, or you can actually play that particular passage after you've practiced well. And you can both enjoy both sides of that, or the option is, or you can work through the working part of it and then not enjoy the performance in the sense that it's still not good enough.
yeah. Oh,
All
that's
right.
okay.
So
I think.
always it has nothing to do with the actual playing of the guitar. It
Mhm.
has to do with the satisfaction you're getting out of it in that moment.
Mhm.
But the guitar for sure is not going to bring lasting
Oh,
satisfaction.
yeah.
Guitars are empty of that kind of stuff. If I can tell a Buddhist joke on you.
Uh,
guitars guitars in and of themselves do not come with any satisfaction at all. It's not
that's
even an option, it's an add-on.
yeah. That's why Mick Jagger couldn't get any.
That's beautiful, right? You can't get no. He looked like while he was dancing on the stage that he was getting quite a lot of satisfaction singing about not getting any. But that's a good point. Yes, if you're playing the guitar and not getting any satisfaction out of it, then set it down and get your mind into a state of satisfaction.
Mhm.
Or if you can get yourself into a state of satisfaction, hey, playing the guitar is a nice thing to while your time away.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I think I realized the problem right now. So when I thought about it, actually it is very satisfying to me when I play it, and I don't play it out of a sense of obligation or something. I think the problem that I saw is that during my day I was thinking a lot about guitar and trying to plan um, for like the long-term future of guitar learning. Oh, maybe I'll go to this program and learn this set of things, and rather than just focusing on what to do on the moment, in the moment. And I think I was just wasting a lot of time just planning about what to do with guitar, thinking
Are
that
you
at some
okay?
point it will get so good and blah blah blah.
You're talking about the planning of, let us say it this way, of expanding your repertoire.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
what to
techniques.
learn next.
Hmm. Yeah, and
Not
I spent.
that what you learn now, what you already have is not quite satisfying enough. I need to do the rumba or the
Yeah.
Spanish guitar, or hey, I got to do a Mick Jagger or maybe the blues guitar. There's all kinds of different major systems of,
Oh yeah, there's quite a lot.
and so it's all over the place. Yes, that's actually part of. Hmm, the desire to know is the springboard of doubt that is actually a subtle feeling. It's one of the three kinds of feelings, and it has to do with a feeling of uncertainty, a feeling of unclarity about whether we like it or not, or whether it's dangerous, friend or foe. Okay, so that whole thing not only leads to doubt, but ultimately here at the guitar, that when the students of the guitar get into that with the guitar, you already recognize that there's no end to it.
Oh yeah, it can go on
Okay,
endlessly.
because there's also, if you could get to the end of the guitar, there's not just the metal strings, but you got the Spanish guitar. You've also got 12 strings. There's also, I've seen an 8-string guitar, and so there's just all kinds of ways to expand. Okay, so here's what I'm getting at. No one person ever gets really good on everything.
Mhm.
That about the best they can do is stay like within the world of maybe the guitar, because outside of guitar you got the stringed instruments that are always four, like, you know, cello, and people spend many years trying to master the cello. All right, so here's what I'm getting at is, even confining into the world of music is far bigger than any one person.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it is just so vast. It's so
Mhm.
much bigger than any one of us can do.
Mhm.
And yet, this drive to do more keeps people doing and going, trying to get more and more and more, because they're never really fully satisfied with the repertoire that they have now.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I see.
So, in that regard, be very careful about how you're increasing your repertoire, because there's just no end to it. But it does have to do ultimately with the 10th fetter, which is the fetter of ignorance.
Okay.
You say, we do not like as humans to be ignorant. If knowledge is power, then ignorance is actually dangerous, not bliss.
Okay.
And so inherently, human beings don't like to be ignorant. We don't like it. And yet we have to come to grips with the fact that there's just so much we will never know. It's all so much bigger than we are. That the best we can do is get just a sliver
Mhm.
of what's real.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
We
infinite,
can,
and there's infinite ways to slice it up. So.
okay. So in that regard, be careful about your guitar and lust for increasing your repertoire. That's just like the king who has a nice pile of gold, but he keeps wanting more gold. He wants a bigger pile of gold. Or the stockbroker wants more numbers, higher numbers, and is all um, that internal greed. Then
Oh.
is part of saying, okay, greed is also has ignorance built into it, in the sense that I think that I know what to do to solve my problem.
Okay.
Okay, when my problem is
Uh,
actually ultimately just ignorance, or in a sense of being dissatisfied with whatever it is in the moment. And so the greed then comes with the Wall Street banker in the sense that he thinks he's got a solution to his heartache: more money.
yeah, I'll just put up another pile next to the other three piles I have.
Yes, and how many people do I have to hurt in order to get that big a pile of money, only to find out that it too is still not satisfying? Funny thing about that. Now,
Yeah.
we can use that word satisfying also in the sense of happiness, that those two words are really closely related. And so Bhikkhu Buddhadasa talks about two kinds of happiness.
Okay.
One kind of happiness is the happiness that we get by having our uh, needs and or greed
Mm-hmm.
fulfilled. We get what we want, all right? But that kind of happiness is short-lived. It's a jolt, but it's a powerful jolt in the sense that we like that state and we really want it back when we lose it. And so we think that that feeling of being satisfied because we got what we wanted was due to the fact that we actually got what it was that we wanted. Then that means that getting more of what we wanted, we'll get that feeling back again.
Yeah, but it's not that
Right?
way.
Is it that? Have you seen that? Okay.
Yeah, it's like
So in
the
fact, if you
hedonic
have
treadmill. Yeah.
so an example of that with the guitar is after you learn a new piece of music and you show it off to all your friends and get their applause and you feel really good about it. Now after a while you're playing that piece and it's just one of your repertoire and it's
Yeah.
just an ordinary song now.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I know.
That
I stuff that was hard to learn now. It's just that old song. Yeah, seems so casual.
That's exactly right. I've also seen that with myself just recently in the sense that um, some of the videos have been put through Google's uh, voice recognition
Okay.
and put into text, and then a student too will go clean that stuff
Hmm.
up. Okay, and so then I go and I read that cleaned up version of it, and first off, it sounds like it doesn't sound like me, but on the other hand, it looks so ordinary. I mean, and yet very few people talk about this stuff in this regard. What it has is it's gotten just like that brand new tune has now gotten ordinary. Everything is ordinary after a while, and so the question is that our satisfaction doesn't depend upon getting something new that we want, but rather being satisfied in this moment with the way things are. And that's why it's such a skill that is difficult to develop. And it's easy to fall into, oh, this is ordinary. Oh, been there, done that. But by
Yeah.
seeing it that way, it really does take all of the weight or the energy out of it. An example was I spent quite a quite a number of months in India.
Okay.
But now when I think of India, I think of it in the sense of, oh, I've been there, I've done that.
Yeah, it's checked
I
on the
have
list.
no desire now to go back to India. But on that same regard, that also means everything that there's absolutely no place now that I'd want to go, whether I've been there or not.
Oh.
So, in that regard, that song then that was really special when it was new has become old in a way when we move from it being performed, because we really got to pay attention to playing that piece of music, to it becoming second nature in the sense that we play it almost automatically when in fact we could play it and enjoy it playfully because we've got it. We've really got it down now. Okay, and so that's how we enjoy that song in the moment without having that, oh, I've seen this before. And so we actually have to work on getting that satisfaction up and going. at whenever we can think of it, whenever we recognize, in fact, that we have become dissatisfied, that things are ordinary, that there is, we get ho hum, because in a way, the ho hum is also a kind of boredom that's got some
Yeah.
tension in it,
Mm-hmm.
because you are still, after all, playing the guitar, playing that old familiar tune and not liking it, but you're still playing the guitar. You're not setting the guitar down and doing nothing. And so, in that regard, there's still the doing of it, which is actually reminiscent then of the way that a lot of kids go to school is they go along to get along. They do what they're told to do. They don't take any real enjoyment out of it. That they kind of half expect or two-thirds expect to get the rewards that they're promised. And then if they rebel, they feel guilty. And so that's the life that we grew up in. All right. And so we can, in just playing the guitar, we can put that whole show into effect.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes you play the guitar because you should play the guitar. And so you do it out of being told to. Now, who told you to play the guitar? It was something
Yeah.
in the mind, some thought that came up that Sigmund Freud would call the superego, or Byrne would call the parent ego state. That the Buddha would look at it in the sense of Silabhata Paramasa, or all of the rules and rituals and shoulds and woulds and coulds that we learned as a kid are now that parent ego state that goes around running our life. When in fact, running our life from a moment to moment basis of wisdom, instead of I'm playing the guitar because I should play the guitar, is that I'm playing the guitar because I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's the belief in me that yeah, if you get so good at guitar, if you get to a certain point, that doesn't matter. It will be so good, and you yeah, I realize it.
Yeah, even if you win a contest, that feeling that you get from winning the contest is short lived. Now, here's a what thing. Imagine or invent or make up or go into the state that you would mentally conceive of or think of as actually winning a guitar contest. How would you feel if you won a guitar contest?
Well, yeah,
Undescribable, I know, but I'm putting you into that state. Think about it and figure out how it would be like to win a guitar contest and recognize you can feel that way
yeah,
anytime you want to.
yeah. That's what I wanted to say. That it's not different from the other satisfaction of getting other things or getting other stuff achieved. So,
Right. There's only so much satisfaction that we can even conceive of.
hmm. Yeah,
Okay?
and if you think of all the effort you have to put into it, especially if you're not liking it while you're doing it, it's ridiculous for the amount of satisfaction you're
Exactly.
getting.
But you know, the guys that are working really hard because they really want to win that contest, there's something kind of missing,
Mhm.
that they're not over that edge. It's only the kid who goes out and performs perfectly and enjoys the heck out of it. He's the winner.
Yeah.
And so, getting ready for a contest and not being so well prepared that you can go out and enjoy your own performance,
Mhm.
you're probably not going to win. Uh, but yet, that's most of the contestants. Most of the contestants are in that state. They're not sure of themselves yet. So we that sureness of oneself is actually part of the skill that was developed along with the learning to play the music that can be learned directly and in much quicker time period.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, as you get more and more perfect on that one piece of music that you're about to perform for the contest or whatever small repertoire you have, you know that you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel really, really good about being able to do it. So the winning is almost expected. And in that regard, then, this is also part of the practice of meditation, is to get the mind in that kind of state with or without the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Guitar is optional. The
Yeah.
important part is getting the mind into the winner's state. Get the mind into the state of I can do this. I'm on top of this game. That I'm the emperor of my own pile
Mm-hmm.
of dirt. That's the way to think about it. And in that regard, the guitar is just a pile of dirt. You can
Yeah.
manipulate it in this with this piece of music. We can manipulate the guitar just fine, thank you. And so that's what um, that's what's difficult about understanding the teaching of the Buddha is that quality of pity or that quality of one's right noble attitude. One's noble attitude is the attitude of absolute management of one's own
Uh,
integrity, that you're really on top of it. That the Buddha even said on a couple of occasions that any place or time that he would enter into an arena or a group of people, he should be the one who then everyone pays attention to,
okay.
and that everybody else stops talking and lets him talk. Okay, that's the kind of presence
Mhm.
that goes along with that quality that comes or exudes from uh, the quality of one's life.
Mhm.
That it doesn't get ordinary; it always goes more and more noble.
Mhm.
But the way to start with it would be um, like the feeling of having won the guitar contest. Okay, so now let's fast forward, and for 9 years in a row, you have won that same contest. But now this is year 10 coming in. And when you come in already as a star. All right. And so that's actually even kind of a better feeling than the feeling that is arrived at with the first guitar competition that
Mhm.
one does win. That's a certain wowness, but
Mhm.
this other level is higher. Okay, so this adulation that gives people such a high is actually what politicians seek.
Oh, yeah.
They want that. They feel really good when people. That's why political rallies, they call them
Oh, yeah.
rallies, and they're so noisy is because the politicians want all of that noise coming out of the people. They want the
Mhm.
adulation so that it makes them uh, feel the way that they can only feel in those moments. They don't have the ability to feel that way otherwise. Okay.
Yeah, so we're learning to conjure up our own crowd.
Yes, you can. So, well, I wouldn't say conjure
Yeah.
up your own crowd, but conjure up not even the
Yeah.
adulation, but rather the
Just the feeling.
experience
Mhm.
of being completely whole on top of your own world,
Mhm.
knowing that everybody else is. struggling with their world, but you're on top of yours, and that's all that really matters. But you can help other people struggle to get out of their own struggle and come to their own top of the world. That's literally what it's all about, is coming out of our own stuff. And we do it by practicing just that. One of the examples I've been using lately is the idea, and so we'll use it with guitar instead of the piano. Imagine that, in fact, that you wanted to learn the guitar, that you had seen guitarists, and that you had played a bit of guitar, and now you're going to be taking formal lessons on the guitar with the intention of learning to play the guitar. Right? We got that down, okay? And yet you spend all of your time on the piano and you never touch the guitar. Now that sounds weird, but if you'll hear me out, we'll see where this is going. Would you, in fact, be able to play the guitar by practicing the piano?
Not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, not really. Fingering, yes, but and they are related, but only when people practice both of them to see that relationship. It normally doesn't move from one to the other, but a little bit, maybe a little bit. Okay. How about instead of playing the piano or practicing the piano, the kid's going to read a math book? Is that going to help the guitar practice? No. Okay. All right. So how about this? When the meditator is practicing satisfaction and joy, how about instead of practicing satisfaction, he sits there wanting something like enlightenment?
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Doesn't help. Right now, he's practicing wanting. And humans have gotten really good at wanting things. That's why we get so much joy out of getting what we want. We get satisfaction, but it's only a little bit. Now let's go way back to what we were talking about. There's two kinds of happiness. One kind of happiness is getting what we want, and it lasts a short time. But sometimes it's really, really high in the air, with a lot of adulation and being a superstar. But there's another kind of happiness, and that's not the happiness of hunger and then being filled. It's the happiness that comes with not getting hungry, being satisfied with not wanting anything, so that we step out of that cycle of wanting something, getting it, or mostly is the cycle of wanting it and not getting it, and wanting it more and not getting it more, and wanting it more than that and not getting it more than that. And this often happens right there on the meditation cushion. They want insight, damn it. Or another one that's really funny. I want patience right bloody now. I need it now.
Yeah, how long is it gonna take to gain patience? Yeah.
Exactly. How long does it take to get patience? In that regard, you either are or are not in any particular moment.
Yeah, and I remember what you said at the beginning of the call when you were talking about lasting satisfaction, and you can only be satisfied in the moment. Maybe you can see over a period you can have satisfaction string together, but other than that, it can only be in the moment. So.
Well, it can only be in the moment, right? And that satisfaction and the experience of what's going on can either knock you down, or it would be very, very subtle, so that we would miss it. And so that's why it's actually a skill to be developed. Now, here's the point. It is always in the moment. The question is, which moment? The answer is the moment you remember.
Mhm.
That's where the sati comes in. So the satisfaction is followed by the sati by using um, right effort, and that mostly students are using wrong effort because their effort is based upon wanting something rather than the right effort of going into a state of satisfaction. So that's the right effort. The right effort is to do nothing. The right effort is to see that the job that needed to be done has just now been done. What was the job that needed to be done? The cleaning out of the mind,
Mhm.
the removing of the hindrances or that which was keeping us in a state of wanting. And so that's what we have thrown out of the mind, and now the job has been done.
Mhm.
It's actually that easy.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because in the moment when sati kicks in, the hindrances are automatically out in that moment.
All out,
Yeah.
out, out. Isn't and then the next kind of half of the thought is, isn't that marvelous? Or something like, ah, wow, what a relief it is.
Yeah, I think it's more just about getting accustomed to the feeling and maybe marking it with a breath or two or sitting there to enjoy it. Yeah, but there's this underlying tendency to want to do more and be more. Yeah, but it's just a trap.
Precisely. Precise. Actually, it's not so much of a new trap for this moment. It's the trap that we live in without recognizing that the trap has a trap door. All right. All we have to do is remember there's a trap door. I can get out of this trap. Though we often just go right back into it because that's our habit, that's our home, that's what we're used to. That's the pattern, mental pattern system that we've become used to. So this new way of thinking, of coming out of being the victim into being the lion, being the winner, being top of class, being noble. That's what the whole quality of the noble is being high class. And that's also what they are that's what's also being meant by a change of lineage.
Mm.
Have you ever heard of that phrase?
Yeah, I think I've heard it. It was in the maps of insight or something. It's from one of the commentaries or from I think the people that do Mahasi noting talk a lot about it from the stages.
Okay,
Is it that one?
this this is what that word change of lineage means.
Okay.
The change of lineage, what it actually means, and I know that there's a lot of different applications of when they add magical thinking and that stuff. But what it actually means is that when you were actually born, you were born into the world in the world of worldlings. The Pali is Putajan,
Okay.
the Putajan. Now the word Puta actually means the sun,
A son
and
of the world, or
and so the word the etymology then the Putajan would mean John in this case is like a group.
okay.
And so you're a son of the group, or you're son of the crowd, or you're son
Okay.
of ordinary world. And so the change in the lineage is now that you're no longer living like an ordinary person with the ordinary bad feelings and the ordinary fears and all of that, and the ordinary greed that people have, including also their ordinary magical thinking. And we start living at a higher quality of life. And that part of that is also living the quality that you're not just a member of the crowd. You're not ordinary in the sense of being a loser like everyone else who's trying to get something so that they don't feel like a loser. You already don't feel like a loser. You feel like a winner because you're practicing being that winner. And so this is now the what they're meaning by the change of lineage is from the ordinary world into the world of the Aryan, or the world of the noble. So the noble race is not according to skin color or language or prior belief system. That the noble class are those who understand suffering and no suffering, and understand how to see suffering and how to get out of it. And so now that becomes their task. Well, in a way, that's exactly what we're talking about, because this word satisfaction and happiness and all of that, the Pali word for it is Sukha. And Sukha is directly opposite of the word dukkha. So you can see then that dukkha is dissatisfaction, or being unhappy or dissatisfied with things. And we're very good at that. We know exactly how to be dissatisfied. We're just not very good at feeling satisfied. And so that's what needs to be practiced. And that's basically all there is to the entire teaching of the Buddha. But all of these details are very helpful to figure out this, that, and the other thing about how the mind works, and how the mind naturally goes from seeing an object all the way into clinging to it, which then leads to selfishness, into full blown dissatisfaction, in the sense of being in a rage or being fearful or full uptight, full of anxiety, whatever, like this is a woeful state that we don't have to be in. And yet, look how many people that you know that are in woeful states, one after another after another. They don't maintain a state of happiness. Even if they get very good on the guitar, they're only a little bit happy with the last tune that they learned, and they want to learn a new one. Only that new tune will bring happiness, or maybe a guitar championship, or maybe being on stage with a symphony orchestra playing Malagania or something. Something that's really thrilling and puts a lot of focus and attention, and I would say adulation. So the question is, can you give yourself the adulation that you need in order to feel that adulation? I've never used that word adulation before. It seems to be useful. I guess it's got something to do with the more religious word hallelujah. But I like the cowboy version. Yippee ki or even yeehaw. And so that's the kind of adulation then that you can give yourself, is that the job has been done. What job was that? Coming out of suffering into a state of now I'm satisfied. That's all the job that there is to do. But that job is there to be done continuously. And you need to do it every time you remember, because the job gets undone again. There'll come a time when there comes a time again when this job doing gets really slowed down. Gets really, really slow, so that there's not much of a job to do anymore, that you feel really satisfied a lot of the time. Doesn't happen often. So that develops, that's because the skill then is developed of sati, to keep watching, keep looking, keep noting, keep inspecting, keep recognizing what is there and what is not there. In the beginning, we see a whole lot there, but as we look closer and closer, we say, wait a minute, that was empty too. And then we begin to see a whole lot of nothing. But all of the stuff that I used to think was really something is actually not much of anything at all.
Yeah, if you inspect far enough or long enough, you.
Right?
But
Why? Because whatever it is, it doesn't affect satisfaction. The satisfaction now has been built up to the point that we're completely satisfied, and therefore I don't need that object to have a meaning
Mhm.
anymore. That it's just a physical object without a meaning. Other people will put meaning on it, but it's just a device.
Mhm.
An example of that would be when the first laptop was really precious. And the second laptop I was very careful with, but that was still back in in the 1980s. Since then, I think that I've had about 20 laptops. Probably 10 of them are still laying around here someplace. Some
Oh.
of them working, and some of them are not. But at this point, now the laptop is just a laptop.
Mhm.
If this laptop that we're using now fails, I'll go get one of the backups and use that to order eBay a new laptop, and that's all there is to it.
Mhm.
No need to feel bad. I've already figured out how to get a new laptop without feeling bad. And so, in that regard, the preciousness of the laptop didn't come with the laptop. How precious and important all of the files were, and how much panic people have when they lose their laptop. That's all optional. But once we've lost enough laptops, it's kind of a nothing now. That is just and the same thing with cell phones.
Oh yeah.
You know, yeah, and in fact, people, I guess, you say 20 laptops in the past 40 years. You're a slow boy. I've already had 10 cell phones in the past 10 years.
I think mine is
And,
getting old. Mine is about 6 or 7 years old. So.
right. So, in that regard, the technology gets old.
Mhm.
And because we have changed technology many times, it's really kind of, we've gotten used to it. And so
Yeah,
the
it becomes a
analogy is,
commodity.
yeah, the things are just a commodity, that it begins to look empty. There's nothing special about
Mhm.
a smartphone. But 10 years ago, smartphones were really, really
Oh yeah.
special. Now, not so much. Okay, the thrill is gone. Guess what? The thrill was never there. The thrill was always optional and was always added by the individual who was thrill seeking. And so he added his own thrill. And so, in that regard, we can say that, okay, well, the really excellent thrill seekers are those who are practicing anapanasati correctly, because they get all they get all the thrills they want. All they have to do is remember thrill time. And so this is the way that we practice: is to give yourself that thrill, the exhilaration, the feeling that you can do this, the feeling that you have done the job that needed to be done. This is the way of practice, and you can also see that that all fits in with guitar playing. Also, fits right in to really enjoy that. When you learn that piece, you got it. And so you give yourself that thrill. So then every time you play that piece, you can play it again with that thrill, that you don't have to say that thrill is gone for that piece. I want a bigger repertoire. How many songs do you know on the guitar now? 100?
No, I think I've been playing guitar since college. I think I have about 10 songs that I can play fully, and maybe parts of songs that I remember. So not that many. So my
Okay.
repertoire is kind of limited.
All right. Well, enjoy the songs that
Yeah.
you can play, and from time to time add a new one. But
Mhm.
remember that when you're adding the new one, that will be not as easy to enjoy as playing the ones you already know how to play.
Mhm. Yeah, working up to it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a while before you get it into a condition where you can play it with minimum or no effort.
Right. Well, satisfaction will grow like that too, because satisfaction is a marvelous music to play, to be satisfied in one's life. Now that actually requires a symphony in a way, to be able to play all of the notes at least when they're needed, so that we can maintain that state of satisfaction. And so I'm glad to hear about your knee, that you can leave it alone and just
Yeah.
let it be there and let it heal on its own, because that takes a state of satisfaction in a way that it's all right to knee. I don't have to worry about it. Mm. So that one quality then about the knee is the way that we can begin to look at the whole world. The whole world is okay as it is. Let it rest. It needs. And people have been punching on it way too much recently. I don't need to do any more punching on it. Let the world have a rest right now. It's just fine. Everything that I wanted out of it, I'm not going to get out of it. The world really is empty. Did I give you that phrase, oh, boundless joy to find at last there is no happiness in this world?
Oh no, you didn't
Oh, okay.
talk
This
about.
is a mural at Watsuanmoke.
Okay.
It's a drawing in Japanese style by an American who spent many years as a Zen student in Japan and then came to stay here at Watsuanmoke. And he had been a commercial artist before that. So it's a really good drawing. So up in the top left-hand corner is the word free is now.
Oh, okay.
And then below that is the hoi toi, the fat Buddha.
Mhm.
It goes by many names.
Yeah, I think it's
Uh,
Buddha in
uh,
it's Hoya Hote in Japanese. Yeah.
right. And Praputa Chai in Cambodia. Um, so then on the with his arms in the air and a great big grin on his face, and you see him kind of floating in the air above this village
Okay.
below. Or maybe he's kind of sitting on a mountain, whatever. He's way above the village, and also in the foreground. And then on the right hand side, on the lower column, is this phrase: "Oh, boundless joy to find at last that there is no happiness in the world."
Mhm.
Okay, so that goes right along with that quality of empty. That the happiness that we seek in the world is not there. The happiness is not in the guitar itself, nor is it in the playing the guitar. The enjoyment of it is optional, up to you. And
Yeah,
so
it's
there
something you
is
can
no
relate.
happiness in the world. The world is empty of happiness. And he has figured that out. And generally, in the first time when we figured out, we don't like it very much because, after all, I spent my whole life trying to get happiness out of the world, and dang, it's not there. I've been going in the wrong direction. But once we get over the disgust that the world is not going to provide the satisfaction, now it's up to us to make it ourselves.
Mhm.
And so the boundless joy, that's another expression. Boundless joy is an expression that's like yeehaw or hallelujah or adulation or any of that kind of thing. That it feels really, really good to see that the job of getting good um, benefit and happiness out of the world is not going to happen. Only that boundless joy comes from inside. And so this is how we're developing it. And so using the guitar as an example is very good.
Okay.
So do you have any questions about what we've been talking about or anything else?
Uh, no. Uh, I was thinking if you had suggestions where if I to try to leave the guitar alone a bit and maybe s- spend a bit more time with practicing, or I don't know.
I'm going to leave you with that
Yeah.
decision
Okay.
based upon what we've been talking about. And you know what I'm getting at, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
That play the guitar
Hmm.
when it's enjoyable, and when it's not, set it down.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and so every time that you, basically what we're saying here is you got to keep watching, keep
Hmm.
alert. Don't pick up the guitar
Oh, okay.
mindlessly, but understand that it's there for your enjoyment.
Hmm. All right.
All
And
right.
I think I should apply this also to formal practice. I should not.
I was about to talk
Yeah.
about that.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I'm also telling guys that it's a good idea to practice more often a day rather than longer in one sitting. That to go for 4 15-minute sittings,
Mhm.
so that you every time that you sit down, you go for the full intention of getting the mind really sharp and focused,
Mhm.
and in a good state of satisfaction,
Mhm.
that you really like it. And so you keep going into that state and doing it fresh 4 times a day, and try to maintain that for about 15 minutes. That's good. That'll be good skill building.
Okay. No, I'll try it. Sounds like a good approach. I'll give it a shot.
All right.
See how it
And
goes.
if the mind wanders away, yeehaw, I caught you. Back we go.
All
Get back
right.
on the path and boogie on down the road.
With a
So I'll
zippity
leave
doo dah.
the answer to that
Mhm.
up to you with the guitar versus your practice,
Mhm.
to recommend that the whole point of the practice, and in fact the whole point of your life, is learning to live your life happily,
Mhm.
in full satisfaction, so that we no longer have regrets,
Mhm.
that we're satisfied with how we've been living.
Awesome.
Regrets, those were years ago. Don't want to think about old regrets. Think about what's happening now.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Oh my. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you later.
Mhm. See ya.
Good to
Thanks
talk
again.
with you again. How's
Yeah.
Romania?
Romania is okay. I think they got a bit. There's people getting very agitated with the coronavirus, even because it got near Italy. So they're kind of the whole subway was talking about it. It's ridiculous. I'm not concerned about it, but people are starting to get provisions of food. Oh my God, what if the city gets isolated? It's kind of funny, but
Okay. I'll thank you for telling me that. Looks like that this mass panic is getting all over the place. This is a pandemic.
yeah,
Okay. Not in the sense
yeah. The panic
that
is a pandemic.
right. Not in the sense that the disease has spread everywhere, but that the fear of the disease is
Yes.
really taking a toll.
Hmm. And even in small isolated towns in Romania where almost nobody goes, even they're scared of getting it. It's ridiculous. Yeah, there's
Oh,
like small cities, like 10,000 people that foreign travelers don't almost never go to, and they're scared of getting it. So somehow and being quarantined. Yeah,
they don't.
it's
In some cases, they don't know how it spread. They haven't figured it out yet. That animal or human contact is not the only way of spreading the disease. They don't know whether it's waterborne or
oh yeah,
airborne, or they don't know much about it yet.
yeah. I think that's part of the fear and the agitation because they.
Isolating it is deadly, in fact. Actually, not deadly. Only 2% of those who working with it, I guess. In fact, several really notable people. The actual eye doctor who first uh, defined it died from it. The
Okay.
guy who was in charge of figuring out what was going on died from it. The
Okay.
guy who was in charge of the hospital died from it.
Huh.
And yet they say it only affects 2%. Well, why did he get those those three guys right in a row? Maybe he was just flexing his muscles, and now is tired and only down to 2%. So we have to wait and see. Nobody kind of knows anything about it. Um, here on this island, I don't think anybody really is worried too much. But I have seen, for instance, Kitty has brought home a mask.
Okay.
So people are beginning. I don't know if they're out on the street wearing the mask. I haven't been to town since it started. In fact, I might not want to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, about that. So the masks in Romania, they're out of stock, and the prices for masks have gone up 10 times. But that was even before the virus got to Europe. The people were just.
People are in a panic.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it's a bit sad, but kind of funny to me. But I'm trying to. uh,
Yes, look at the level of fear. This is the level of fear that humans are in, so that a
mhm,
little thing like this will trigger this mass hysteria.
mhm. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe if an actual emergency comes, they'll freak the hell out. It will
What
be
will
just.
they do if a real emergency happens?
Yeah.
Ooh. Maybe aliens. Ooh.
Yeah, we'll just wear the mask and we'll be fine. Hopefully, don't get anything from them.
So we'll have to wait and see what happens to the economy with
Mhm.
this.
I think there was a post by Warren Buffett. I think it won't affect the stocks on on Wall Street, so he was okay. That was quite funny. Oh, I wanted to ask you, on which island are you? I was curious because I have someone from work visiting Thailand in the islands right now.
Okay,
So,
I'm on Koh Phangan.
okay.
Koh Phangan
Mhm.
is off the coast of southern Thailand on the east side.
Okay.
And over here, the three main islands that visitors come and stay on is Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, and Koh Tao.
Okay.
All of the other islands are part of an archipelago, a chain that has no inhabitants, mainly due to water. But tourists are not allowed to sleep there overnight, so
Okay.
they stay on these main islands. So Koh Tao
All
is
right.
up north, and Koh Phangan, but the big island is Koh Samui.
Mhm.
It's even
Okay.
got an international airport.
Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, hopefully my colleague won't be too panicked and she. Yeah. Yeah, we'll
When's
see
she
how this
planning
goes.
on coming?
She's already there. She's not. I think I forgot the island she was visiting, but I think he was. There was an island with Ma, but I think I forgot the name. It was. I think it started with Ma or something. Anyways, doesn't matter. Yeah, and she was wondering if there was panic in Thailand, but about this. But,
Um, I honestly don't know what level of
okay.
panic in Thailand it is, which
Okay.
means it's probably really low.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, from what I have heard, all of the cases that have been caught in the country were isolated at the airport and contained, that they're
Mhm.
still at the airport.
Okay.
And the people who are coming from, but now it's hard to tell. Maybe they'll just have to stop flights altogether. But they were checking every Chinaman
Hmm. Okay.
that came, or everybody who came out of China on an airplane was checked, and whoever they found then is still at the airport, and so
Hmm.
that's the way that they've contained it.
Hmm.
Because all of the if you're going to fly on a ticket to Thailand, the international airport in Koh Samui, they did that too, but they didn't find anyone. I think that Koh
Okay.
Samui does have a flight from Hong Kong,
Hmm.
but that no one coming from Hong Kong has been identified with the virus. Everyone came into Bangkok
Okay.
that has it, and I'm not sure how many it is, maybe 20 or so. Uh,
Okay.
so that's the information that I've heard. The Thai people are not too worried. They're they're at the airports,
Yeah.
waiting to.
I think it's funny because people in Romania, we're so far from the disease and we're so agitated about it. People in Thailand are chilling out.
I bet Romania is not the only country. I bet
Oh, yeah.
Albania and Greece and
Hmm.
neighbors, even Italy is. In fact, Italy's
Oh,
really
yeah.
freaked out because
Hmm.
they've got it now.
Yeah, in Romania, I think it's freaked out because there's a lot of people, especially poor people, that go to work in Italy. Some people even they work without legal forms, and I think they were freaked out, and a lot of them came back to Romania, and now Romanians are scared that the people coming back will give it to us.
Well, I can imagine then that the same thing happened with the plague in
Oh
the
yeah.
Middle Ages, that the people who were outcast were the ones that the rats followed around. And so when the outcast would get kicked out of this place and go to that town, then they would leave a few rats, and then they were kicked out, and so they would go and move someplace else. That's how they say that the plague
Okay.
started, was because the people who had the plague were kicked out of town, and so
Yeah.
they brought the rats with them, because that's where the plague had come from, was the rats in the first
Mhm.
place. So we don't know about this coronavirus. They haven't figured out what it is yet, but we have figured out that people will use it to go into panic mode. Don't panic, but stay to yourself, but don't panic. Anyway, I think we're finished with
Oh
this
yeah.
call, and I really enjoyed talking with you. So I hope to see you again soon.
Mhm.
You keep up your good practice.
Mhm. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Take care.
Okay, bye bye. See you later.